We actually write on this. We don't write.
We don't write on the show.
No,
We
we
don't
don't
write on
write
the
on
show, but do you expect me to be writing when I'm not on the show? That seems
Expect you to
There
be
was
writing
some
all the
kind
time.
of there was some kind of expectation that you would actually occasionally write.
damn it. Oh,
And
It's
that
like
is,
Terry. I mean,
it's
he's
from
been
Karen Chance. The book's title is Midnight's Daughter. And it is
okay.
an excellent, excellent book. And if you go through the series, one of the things that it delves into is the conflict inside the character from having part being human and part being vampire. And this is not like a I'm torn sort of thing. It's like deep inside there are literally two separate beings that are fighting against one another, and part of her struggle is reconciling everything to try and make peace with the vampire part of herself. And so it's a pretty deep sort of thing, and it's well written. I say it's deep. That part's deep. A lot of it's really funny and exciting because the author has a way of taking a scene and having it start out small and just things happen and things happen and things just keep snowballing, and then you end up with a vampire stuck halfway through a car's windshield with his butt hanging out. And you go, how did I get here? How did I get here?
so you're saying that there's a very Deadpool-esque vibe to the way that we end up in certain situations.
Kinda, yes.
Okay, this sounds like my kind of book. Adding it to the Bible.
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
It's not
Vampires
rubbish.
poking through windshields. What is this? What is this?
Well, if you don't look
Well, you know,
both ways before you cross
he
the street.
offended a dragon, a half dragon. So things happened. Things happened.
You're trying to tell me he got his dragon uppins?
He kind of did. He kind of did. The thing that's interesting about this series is the author also writes other series set in the same world that go on concurrently. One of them is about a character named Cassandra Palmer, who is basically a seer of the future. And so that's the big series that she started off with. But there are vampires in there. And then so the Dorina Basarab storyline comes out of that. Daughter of Dracula sort of thing.
Okay.
Very convoluted. I like
Very
what
convoluted.
one of their character types that they have in there is they're called war mages. And you've got your regular magic using mages, but then you've got the ones that are really tough and really go out and go rumble with people. And they're called war mages. And there's a real asshole in the war mage camp that keeps popping up and getting his comeuppance on regular occasions. So that's always fun too.
I have so many questions. Now I'm just going to have to read the book.
Questions. While we ponder. Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul Lee Cooley. Joining me, as always, Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon. How the hell are you people?
Good, I'm
Present
making
and
cats
tired.
chase me.
Presently tired. Terry's fighting
Present
with cats.
and tired.
Present and tired. Okay, not
Yes.
presently tired.
Well, she may also be presently tired, you know.
Strangely enough, no. I'm just
Have you
like,
ever been pleasantly tired, though?
Sure. Who
Pleasurably
hasn't?
tired?
Indeed. So, yeah.
I am going to take the fifth on that one. But
Better being pleasantly tired than being put to sleep.
or unpleasantly tired. I've been unpleasantly
Unpleasantly
tired
tired.
before.
Yeah, it's
Or
like
like-
every all-nighter.
I've been too exhausted to sleep. That's the worst. That's the
I agree.
worst.
I agree. Now Chad is getting tired. Now wake the hell up. If you fall asleep, we're
Speaking
going to
of
fall
sleep,
asleep.
Paul,
and it's
see
just
what you
gonna be-
did?
It's just going to be three people snoring. It's going to be awful. It will be awful. Well, besides being present and tired, how are you, V?
I'm here.
Okay.
So-
Did you get anything accomplished this week?
I got stuff written, which is always nice. I got stuff recorded. I am currently prepping 3 books to record because I am flying to Vegas tomorrow for Author Nation, which means I had to pack, which means I have 1 week where I'm not recording. And literally when I get back, I just hit the ground running or hit the booth talking. Something like that.
So excited you're going back to Vegas, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I got a table. I got swag to give out. That'll be fun.
So if any of y'all are going to Author Nation, make sure you attack Veronica and get pictures.
I also have DRS badge ribbons. They are very rare. You can only get them when you find me. And I have like maybe 20 of them right now.
We really need a new logo. I need
That's
to
the
save
thing.
up
They
some
don't
money for
even
that.
have logos on them. They literally just have like the closest approximation I could get to the font. And they say, I put dead robots in my ears. So yeah.
Still
I
need to
can
look at
make-
the logo.
Yeah. But I can actually share something officially.
Uh-oh. Stand back,
Oh,
everyone. Give her some
stand
room.
Let me settle myself in my chair. So, I signed a contract a couple weeks ago to co-author a sequel to a book that came out in the mid-90s, I think. I'll have to quick check the copyright. But I am co-writing the sequel to The Ship Who Searched by Anne McCaffrey and Mercedes Lackey. I'm co-writing it with Misty, or Mercedes. And so yeah, that's been part of my writing repertoire for the past month or two to get that in gear. So that's why I've got all of the little tabs
Oh,
on there,
God.
because I had to go through and read the book and learn it and get the tone of the characters. It really does pick up with the same characters. So it follows continuing adventures of Tia and Alex. And there are new characters and new places and new things that happen. But
Oh.
it's very light, energetic sci-fi. And it's not heavy on the science. So
Neat.
that's fun. Oh yeah.
Congrats. Terry, what do you have?
I have been doing jack all.
How does Jack feel
What?
about this?
Well, I could tell you how Jack might feel about it. I don't know about Jack, though, so.
Jesus Christ. Just
You
go ahead and drop
know?
that bomb.
I thought about packing my banana printed socks. And I'm like,
Sadly, he will not be there this year.
Oh,
Damn.
man.
That stinks.
Though,
stinks.
on a note there, he and his beloved are getting married,
I know.
and so I think it is in March of next year. We are going to go up and not be at the wedding, I don't believe. I may be mistaken, but we're going to go up there and be at whatever reception there is. So we're going to make the trip up there for that.
Well, that'd be cool.
I expect it
That
to
would
be.
be cool. And that's
I
all
bet.
you know, huh?
Well, here's what I've done for the last week. I wanted to go ahead and get the next Empire book read and sent off to the editor before I left, and I decided that's not going to happen. I'm partway through it, but I'm just not going to make it before I have to leave. So I said, I've got a few more days. Screw it. I'm just going to keep relaxing, and when I get back, I'll dig into it and send it off. So I'm resting on my laurels temporarily of wrapping up the series that I was working on, The Last Hunter, and getting prepared for the next series.
Okay. So not slacking too much.
A little bit of slacking, but I feel good with this decompression.
You probably needed it, man. You probably needed it.
I am so ready to go ahead and start punching Nazis in this next series. Space Nazis. Space Nazis. I need to clarify that.
I can tell you.
Why?
after-
Clarify.
After
Because they're worse.
have
Space Nazis are worse.
having co-written 4 books on punching, aliens who collude with space Nazis, it is very, very satisfying. Especially when you can blow them up with thermite.
Oh, but I don't want to blow them up with thermite. That would be very satisfying. But I'm looking to go ahead and make the head guy, like from the Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's going to be like Belloc. He's going to be like the main character, only no scruples.
He'll be scrupulous.
He will be scrupulous. He will be the mentor that went bad.
But even
And
he's got limitations.
he's going to continue to be a
certain
bad
things, right?
penny that keeps turning up.
Yeah, well, you're used to doing that, Patrick.
Patrick wasn't a bad penny.
That's not how I remember it being talked about. He was an assassin.
Well, he's still one of the most popular characters in that series. People loved him.
That is immaterial.
Well, I
James
haven't read
asks-
any of the reviews on the last book. It's at a 4.7, so I apparently did not screw up the ending. So yay for me.
If you'd like, you can go ask the Mighty Ginger what he thinks, because I caught him the day it was released. He was already gotten through a handful of chapters on his phone. I'm like, you fanboy, really? Shut up, I like it. Fine.
Well, let's see. What have I been doing this week? This week's a blur. I recorded, I think, and one day I got 9,000 words recorded.
Holy crap.
I had to take a break, a
Yeah.
2-day break. I got a couple other chapters recorded, so I think I only have 10 chapters left to record in Evolution. So maybe I'll have it ready for Audible in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks after that, maybe it'll get passed through, and we can go ahead and get this fucker out there. And I've also been working on the denouement for Extinction, and that's slow going. I have to make a couple of decisions about certain scenes, and probably just need to write them to get through them, and then throw them away and start over.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Probably with a lot of this crap that I'm putting at the end, I've got to, because there's going to be a lot of gotchas that I won't find immediately in my head. So working on that, and then outlining a new book to pitch to Raventail. So
This is the story with the werebeavers?
The patrons last week helped me brainstorm another story, and so I'm putting the outline together. I've got like 2 scenes left to outline, and then I've pretty much got the whole script set up with characters and the whole 9 yards. So I don't have a Buffy in this one, but so Thurston Howell III can't go Buffy. Maybe I should change that. Maybe I'm going to name one of the characters Thurston, and then maybe I'll do that. I could do that.
Lovey.
Oh, it's Lovey, not Buffy. Lovey.
Yeah, or you could just switch it. I mean, you could just, like Howie Thurston.
Howie Thurston.
Howie Thurston.
That might work. So I did research on private islands. I did research on the critter, and various other critters of that sort, and all sorts of stuff. It is really terrifying when you start looking at some of this shit that happens to ants and crabs and everything else. It's just like, okay, so you get completely zombified and just do whatever the parasite tells you to do. That's kind of frightening. Oh yeah, it's just, Anyway, this will be fun. So yeah, Mutant Saculina. It's going to be awesome. Well, we'll see if they pick it up. It's got a lot of body horror in it. At least I'm planning for it to have a lot of body horror. So we're going to go with that. We'll see how it happens.
Well, I mean, if someone tells you that you have to tone it back, don't you think you've done your job as a horror writer?
Probably.
Uh-oh. Dad,
There goes the
we gotta
calendar.
we gotta change your writing schedule, Dad. It needs more cats in it.
James, you are welcome to submit logos or a scalable version of the DRS logo. We've been talking about doing something with it for years, and we just never gotten around to it. I don't even know if we know what we'd want at this point. Eunice Levy Wentworth Howell. Holy crap. Now I got to go look up the cast of characters from Gilligan's Island. I got to do it now. I got to do it. I have to do it.
And there it goes.
I
So
mean,
much for your
all
calendar.
that you have to do is remember the intro song. Gilligan and the skipper, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor, and Mary Ann here on Gilligan's Isle. You're only 7.
Wow. Like
Tongue-eating parasites rule the universe.
chewed this end of this up so it's like sticking out. I'm like, what the hell did you guys do? Oh, speaking of chewed,
Oh man.
Oh,
Wow.
Lord.
that's my calendar for the year.
Got it, dude. Got it. Chat has moved on from parasites to Columbo. I don't know how this happens.
Well, I mean,
Vanishes
Columbo
very
is respectable everywhere. Everybody should have a Columbo in their stories. I just got this one question.
It's really hard for people to do that, to ask the monster. I just got this one question. Why are you trying to eat us? Because you look scrummy and I'm hungry? Okay, just making sure. All right, continue the chase. I can see that totally happening.
There's these memes going around that have scenes from Star Trek with the dead red shirts laying around, and they insert Columbo into him standing over the body.
Oh, no.
And I think that is hysterically funny.
Yeah, I think Columbo is one of the best TV characters to come out of it. And Peter was just amazing. It was just
Peter
amazing.
Falk, he does the thing, man.
He did the thing. Delicious protagonist. I think I'm going to use that on my next book jacket.
Crunchy goes good with bacon.
I already ruined bacon for a lot of people with the black, so
Well, what
yeah.
what other favorite food can you ruin in this next book?
I would love to figure out a way to really do something bad to eggplant just to annoy Jake Bible. Because
Hang on a second now. I'm pretty sure that eggplant does not fall in favorite category for very many people.
No, that's exactly
Depends
why.
on your perspective and your genre.
Oh, never mind. Moving on. I do want to say this is the shortest book I've ever had published. It is tiny. It is really, really tiny. It's kind of scary how tiny this is after writing all these other ones. So I got my copies and they all came in one book, and I was like, how did you get this many copies in this box? Oh yeah, because they're this big. That's why. Whoa. Must be another cat in here.
Sassy is right there.
Somebody's got attitude.
Those girls. It's
She's grumbly with everybody that comes near her. But she's like only like this little pint size something, but everybody's terrified of her. She has Leo running every time she charges him. He's like, don't kill me. I weigh 3 times what you do, but don't kill me.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what
I
it
don't know
is.
what it is, but I'm a fan. I appreciate that.
Size isn't everything. Yeah, the book is super tiny. It looks strange on the stack of Cooley books. Yeah, I can't even. You put it next to the other ones, you can't even find it.
Until it creeps out and gets you.
Until it creeps out and gets you. Yeah, that's how it's going to happen.
So, we have a subject.
We do.
We do.
We do. I keep thinking of Megadeth's Eye of the Tornado. And probably there's like maybe one other person in the world who knows that song. But basically sometimes you get swept up in a lot of negativity because a lot of really negative things happen around you. And it could be the loss of a loved one. It could be something as crazy as losing your job. There's all these different things that basically put you in a grief state. And grief is really something that's difficult to handle. It's difficult to talk about. It's difficult to try and share some of these things with other people. And sometimes it really takes everything you've got in the world just to get moving. As somebody who suffers from bipolar 2, I can understand that. I can understand that completely. And I've been in that point where basically it's just everything is falling apart and you're left just staring into a void wondering what the fuck. And that kind of thing kick you down and really put you on the floor. And somehow you got to find a way to get yourself back up. So what I'd like to talk about today is I'd like to talk about some coping mechanisms, some other things that we can do, we can use as artists to try and get over some of those little bumps in the road. And also just basic coping mechanisms for anything.
I'm going to caveat that with healthy coping mechanisms. Because
And being a veteran, I know all kinds of unhealthy coping mechanisms.
I know you.
Look,
but-
throwing grenades at passersby is not going to make you feel any better. Well, maybe it will.
Alcohol is an unhealthy coping mechanism. Lots of
is.
veterans, unfortunately, fall into the bottle, and that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And as much as I hate to say it, too much caffeine is an unhealthy coping. I know.
Where's
I know.
the eject button? Let's
I'm
get her out of here.
sorry. For some people, it is an unhealthy coping mechanism and will exacerbate the mentality that you're trying to kind of push away, just because not everybody reacts to caffeine the same way, and if you're already agitated, it can make things worse. And just sometimes your body really does need to rest and sleep. So using something to push yourself to just stay awake. Yeah.
And I have none of my glasses on. I thought that said Aunt Milky. Aunt Mickey's place says, my pets give me a reason to get up every day after my husband died. I can understand that. I know
Pets
that
are a
feeling
very
too.
good, I'm not going to say distraction, although they are distracting. They are a good way to refocus your attention on something concrete and something that will give you love back. And that's very healthy. Unless, of course, it's a snake, and then I'm not so sure. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hey man, they just want warmth. They just want warmth. They'll love you because there's warmth. There's always warmth. So how do I cope with this crapola? How I used to cope and how I got through my teenage years was writing. That's how I got through. Was writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And singing to death metal and all sorts of other things before death metal was a real thing. The reason I put my Wrath as my moniker up there is usually when these things happen, I'm like my father, we just turn it into rage. And there's healthy ways and unhealthy ways to cope with that. And one of them is to put that into art.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to double back to my psych background. It is very common in guys or individuals with a guy presenting mentality that depression manifests as anger.
Mm-hmm.
So, not to say that is for everybody, but it is more common for guys who are going through depression to maybe not be like super sad, but to just be very agitated and on edge. So when you're grieving and you're like, well, I'm not sad, I'm just pissed at the world, that still kind of qualifies as being depressed. And I think one of the best things that you can do, and I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing to do, but it really is like a first step. It's just simply acknowledge it out loud. This sucks. I do not like this. Rather than trying to first pretend everything is okay. Because it's not okay. And not to have like some Sesame Street platitude. It's okay to not be okay. But acknowledge and put it out there that this is what it is. It sucks. And then once you have it down, like through writing, I like journaling, and it's usually stream of consciousness journaling. But once you have it down, then sometimes just putting it down on the page and going, all right, how do I work the problem? And then just kind of writing it out.
Just remember that if you journal everything, then that gives the prosecution evidence when they go ahead and bring you to trial.
Didn't that just happen to a writer a few weeks ago that she got nailed for
It was
writing
more
her
than a few
husband's
weeks
death?
ago, but it did kind of happen, yes.
Yeah. So I
Look,
mean,
they wrote the recipe for the murder. We've got all the proof we need. It's open in the book. It's actually got the addresses and shit in it.
so
I'm not
I
going to
mean,
mention any names, but an author recently sent me a book to read that was more like a Mary Sue how-to for a civil war. And I'm like, let me tell you, buddy. First off, don't do it.
Yeah.
Letting your friends drag you out to eat food is helpful.
Yeah. Another thing is if someone offers to help and distract or try to take some of that, for some people, taking the physical and mental load off is helpful. For others, it's the worst thing you can do because we just kind of need to buzz and keep going so we can process. But human contact is important. So if your friends say, "Hey, you want to go out?" Just go. Yeah. I'll put on pants. Sure.
I've been that guy.
Yeah, personally, I know that the summer after, I should probably the year after I started working full time, I wound up slipping into a huge depression. And that was because I was literally grieving the loss of an identity that I had as a teacher. Because that had been part of my life for over 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly it was like, nope, you're not that anymore. Well, shit, what do I do now? And it was trying to, like, what do I do? How to ask for help? What's going to be fun? And understanding that not everything has to be fixed all at once, and not everything needs to be fixed all at once.
While I'm not a professional, and I don't pretend to understand grief and how people deal with it in a professional setting, the times that I've been involved with something that's like that, I found that just finding one thing that you can start focusing your attention on to, whether you consider it a distraction or something to help relieve it, you may not fix all of the problems, but you're taking a step in the right direction by finding that one thing that can give you a little peace from the grief. Mm-hmm. Like this.
There are times where the last thing you want to do is, and I guess I'll put it from the other side. There are times when you can't explain what's wrong. And sometimes people will be like, what is wrong? And you really can't explain it. You can't tell it. You can't verbalize it. And that's when folks need to just take you out and ignore whatever's going on. You just need to get it off your mind for a while, and you might be able to see things a little more clearly. Because the tendency is you want to crawl into your house and just sleep. Do nothing but sleep or watch TV and feel miserable. And that's pretty much all you want to do. And sometimes going out and just being around people for a while will kind of fix that. And you got to remember that no matter how shitty things are, there are still other good things that are coming.
This too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
As hard as that is to believe sometimes. So I think that's something you got to do.
Hey, stop knocking my camera around. One of the mistakes that people make, maybe it's not a mistake, but one of the things that people do is assume that when you're dealing with grief or something that you're getting over, that it's something that's going to change. And that's not exactly the case. Like many things in life, sometimes it's not a matter of making the circumstances change. It's a matter of getting through to the other side of whatever it is. Because one thing that people like to do is try to change things. Sometimes things are beyond your control. A lot of things in life are beyond your control. And what you have to do to find a way to cope with that is not be caught up in the turbulence, but find your way through to the other side, whatever that other side may look like. Don't lose yourself while you're trying to do that. Focus on the things that are important to you. Focus on what you need to do, and just stand firm against the turbulence and get through it to the other side. And sometimes that's the best you can hope for.
I think art is at its best, is the channeling of the human experience. And pain is one of those things. Grief is another one of those things. Depression, the darkness, all of that, the nasty, the hate, all of it is all related, and all of it can be expressed through art. And it doesn't have to be in your face either. It's just a matter of, it's you putting those thoughts down in a way that you can see them, that they're not scary, that they're there, and you can deal with them. You know, you can write that book where a certain person gets eaten, they just change the name. You know,
Sometimes crunchy and good with cathartic. Ketchup is just fine.
It's very cathartic. Trust me. So there's little tricks you can do there, and to try and get that out. And I know musicians will crawl into their music, writers will crawl into their writing, visual artists will just go crazy, and sculptors, etc. We all do it. And you don't have to be an artist to do it.
No, I legit had a lousy day, and I had to record a first chapter for a book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel awful. I don't want to work today, but I have to get this done. What am I going to do? The lovely thing about acting is that you find out what's in that chapter, what's going on with that character. And you see, hey, can something of me go into that? Well, luckily the character was in a really shitty situation and had a panic attack during the last half. So I just leaned into it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put this energy and fidget and awfulness someplace. The author came back and said, "Oh my gosh, it's perfect. She made me cry. This was great." And I'm like, well, damn, now I got to keep this up for the whole book.
Paul,
it's productive.
What did you say before this? Because I had a thought, but her words drove out of my head. It's okay. It's perfectly cool. My brain is short anyway, so I got focused on what you were saying, and then I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
His brain is as short as his age is long.
It's true. That's how it works. Why did I walk into this room? That's how it works.
And you're asking me what I said 5 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh.
Basically, the diving into art, I'm getting it all out, even if you're not an artist.
I'm sure I had something really important to say about that, but I have no idea what it was.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad we're on that page. Grief leaves a scar, you keep going, but life is different. This is very true. And as Brett says, no matter how shitty things are, they can always get worse.
Thanks for that vote of optimism.
I was talking to my aunt and uncle yesterday, and it got really depressing. And I was like, well, thanks for the pick-me-up. Thanks for the call. Anyway, it was pretty funny. I think that's the best way to deal with that, apart from, if it's bad, you need professional help. If it's a chronic condition and you just feel like the world has stamped you down, you can't get back up. You need to probably get some help.
Well, even if it's
I'm cutting in because I remembered what it was.
Yes, go.
Taylor Swift and her breakup songs. That's how you could put your bad stuff into your art right there.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the success that Tay-Tay has had. I mean, if you can get even a quarter of, what she has done with all the stuff that she's been through, you'll make bank. She's probably cuter than you are.
At this
She's
point,
definitely
I think,
cuter than I am.
At this point,
Definitely.
I think she has. I think she has relationships just to write songs. I mean, she purposely goes in with the idea, I'm going to break up and make a great song out of this.
You know, what's
hope
the
not.
benefit in dating Taylor Swift? Because you know that as soon as it ends, your ass is toast for billions to hear about.
And he's got a small penis. Is that one of her songs yet?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not really that familiar with Taylor Swift songs, but I'm betting it's not
don't-
that specific.
I don't. Yeah, she's usually not that specific, but but there's. I mean, she's not the only. Look at all of these different artists that make diss tracks.
Oh, I know.
All of the people who that you learn later on that a song was written about somebody else.
You probably
What
think
was-
this song is about you, don't you?
Oh yeah, Carole King was the queen of that, with "You're So Vain," and so I mean it's not a new thing to go and to infuse your art with your life experience so that you can heal. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think if you're here listening to us bozos, you probably are one of those folks who is already poured some of this into your art before. It's just a matter of when you're this down, it's hard to remember to do it. And it's like the last thing you want to do. And of course, it's like anything else. After you lose yourself in it, you come out 2 or 3 hours later and you feel better. So I just basically suggest you try and channel it as best you can and let people help you, even when they
Yes.
don't know how and you don't know how.
And yes, chat, you're right. It was Carly Simon, not Carole King. I apologize.
You know, to bring back, you know, the famous animated Christmas stuff that comes around every year. That advice of just putting one foot in front of the other is a necessary thing to get through grief. Honestly, leaving the song aside, making progress is good. If you do nothing, you're going to be buried in grief. Take those small steps. Maybe you're not going to go the right direction at first, but you're doing something. And that will lead you to doing something better.
Now I hear Journey in my head. Be good to yourself when
Just
nobody
put one
else
foot
will.
in front of the other.
I like my
and
song
soon you'll be walking through that door. Yeah. Don't have Terry sing. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as having Paul sing. Here's Eric Idle says, always look on the right side of life.
Always look on the, bright, side of life. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo.
Oh, I bet that's really bad. I'm from the UK. I used to show Watership Down and the Snowman where the main character melts at the end. Yeah, I remember that one. Brett says, most Savage Taylor Swift song is better than Revenge, written about Camilla Bell and Joe Jonas. I have no idea who those people are.
Joe Jonas sounds vaguely familiar. Wasn't he part of the Jonas Brothers that were in
Yes.
some kind of... They were in a band, weren't they? I seem to
Yeah,
remember
they were-
that.
The Jonas Brothers, yes.
Yeah.
And there was a, yeah.
Not Frosty. Not Frosty the Snowman, no. No comment, James. All right, Scott. Thanks for checking in, Matt. Hope it goes well.
How do you know who that is? It just says Facebook user.
Because I know he's doing renovations.
Ah.
And also he's one of the few people that checks in through Facebook.
Or you just randomly named him. This person is now forever Scott, even though his name may be something else.
That's really sad. Really, really sad. Not really sure what else to say about this.
Well, another thing that can be helpful is if you feel like you can't do anything with your chosen medium of art, if you can't write, draw, get a coloring book. I know it sounds trite, but sometimes it's just finding something where you're able to focus and, I guess, turn your brain off.
Go clean the kitchen.
Yeah, rage cleaning is a beautiful thing.
Your garage, it seriously needs attention. Go take care of that.
Yeah, the garage. If you're still in a place where you need to like weed the garden, that'll do it. If you want, I mean, if it would be helpful to you, I'm a huge fan of going to the gym and working out until I am literally exhausted. And if that means getting on the treadmill and putting some tunes in my ears, I will sit. Well, I'm the weirdo that's on the treadmill, like power walking and half dancing and mouthing all the words.
The
what?
gym must love you.
Actually, they do because I show up to my classes on time. But yeah, but it's you do that. And Rowdy, how do you rage clean? Oh,
Find something that really pisses you off and then go, God damn it, that bathroom is this. and I'm gonna
bleach
fix it.
everything.
I'm gonna fix it all.
it's just gather up all the cleaning supplies, look at everything like the most judgmental individual you know, and just go to town. But wear gloves and make sure things are well ventilated because you don't want to rage clean and then pass out because of fumes. It's very counterproductive.
Don't mix ammonia and bleach because bad things happen.
Yes.
Yes, that might be very bad.
That's what's
Might be
called
very bad.
mustard gas.
And Mikey says, turn to your comfort things, the shows, the games, absolutely. If you know, hey, Violent Video Game, yes. If whatever is going to help you just process and work through stuff and maybe not have your brain spiral, that's fine. If that's, violent video games, that's great. I'll save books and maybe I'll read something, but often it's just find a series that I've watched a million times and I will rewatch it.
Given this group, we could just get some black and dump it in there. The black cleans everything, even you.
Right down.
I'm afraid those gloves aren't going to help, sport.
No, not much. Not much.
Oh.
Yeah,
do you have mold in your shower? Not anymore. Not much else.
What book was it where the good guys made mustard gas to defend themselves from a rogue military unit? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what that is. That's not triggering any memories. Ooh, that sounds nasty. Ooh.
Mustard gas is not a nice thing, so it is
No,
indeed nasty.
No, it's
That's
not.
the troops of World War One. Ugh.
And the other thing is, like, comfort stuff is different for every person.
Very true.
Call of Duty may be your comfort.
Yeah.
Raging D Music may be your comfort. Oh, Lucifer's Hammer? Did they do that in Lucifer's Hammer?
Well, he's asking the question mark. He's not sure, so I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. It's been too goddamn long since I read that book. I think I read it when it came out close to it. It's been a long time. Been a very long time. Does sound like something Pornell and Niven would do, though. See, Terry's comfort zone is his cats. So what he does is he lays down in the middle of the floor and they all just jump on him. And they're hoping that he has, well, actually they're hoping he's died because then they can have the dinner.
No, that's not the way they're going on that.
That's not the way they're going on that. Oh, man. The After Dark link isn't up on Patreon. Well, why isn't it? Why are you telling me this now? I'll put it up there in a minute. I'll get it up there. Okay. Bad Paul. Bad Paul. Find what makes you happy. Go do it. Find what
to
takes
your
your
happy
mind off
place.
things. Go do it. Go scribble some words. Go type.
Go
do
punch
those
Nazis.
things. Go punch Nazis in your works.
Go wander around a bookstore.
I recommend
Go-
not punching Nazis in person because then law enforcement gets called and then bad things happen.
Yeah,
so
just-
do it in your fiction.
It's better to do it on the page. Yeah, do it on the page for now. Do it on the page. So the yes, finding the happy is sometimes the hardest part. No, it's always the hardest part.
Yeah. But I
And really-
would say to do your best to be out among people. You don't necessarily have to talk to anybody. But if you can swing it, going to, your local coffee shop or going to a park where you know that there are other human beings around, you don't have to say anything to anybody. But simply by being around where other humans are can be helpful and comforting, because then literally you're not alone. There's someone else there. They might not be a friend. They're just like another random person. But there's another person there.
I read a story that maybe it's true, maybe it's not, about a person that inadvertently started a reading club.
How do you inadvertently start a reading club?
He started a silent book reading club because he went to a coffee shop and he was reading, and there was somebody else there that was reading, and they kind of nodded at each other and went about their business. And he came back to read the next week just because that was his schedule, and there were a couple of more people. And over like a month, there ended up being like 20 people there, and the barista was like, "Congratulations on your book club." And he's like, "I have a book club?
When did I get a book club? How
When
that
did this happen?"
I bet
Jeez.
similar things happened at my favorite local coffee shop here, because it's so close to the university. It wound up being the de facto office away from campus for the College of Business and some of the humanities professors. And so even like I walked in there earlier this week because I was doing prep work. Why not sit, have coffee, have a bagel? And there are like 6 of them just sitting there talking. And some of them were there when I was still there. It's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I can't really say I'm prepping Shifter Romance. Like, work. I hope nobody looks at my screen.
I totally think you should have told him. Make him go, "Oh, oh, oh."
Oh.
If I didn't have fond memories of at least one of them, I might have. But there are others who walk in who I would totally have gone, "Oh yeah, so this is Age Gap Dragon Shifter Romance, multiple partners, really spicy, and it's part of a series." And just watch them go. Because
Hey everybody, I'm over here writing porn.
And I come here because I want to find, other people's personalities to stick in there. And here you've been for the last 6 months. I wonder whose personalities end up being the betas in my novels.
Poor choice of phrasing there. Very poor choice of phrasing.
Really? I think it was right on point.
It's not getting any better. It's only getting worse. It's only
and there are
getting
no
worse.
betas in this particular. That's not a thing in this particular Shifter Romance.
I'm in a book club, several. What I hate is they force you to read things. Brett's just there for the wine and the cheese. That's all he's there for.
I just want to be in a book club where I get to read what I want to read, not what they want me to read.
When is Paul going to jump into the body horror genre of the Omegaverse? I
Don't.
know what the Omegaverse is.
Joe, we are not going to. Oh, Xander, no. You're going to break braids. You know what? We will teach Paul about the Omegaverse during After Dark.
Oh,
Okay.
boy. Or as
Must be
they say,
spicy.
"Oh, my."
Oh my.
Yep.
Beta?
Yep.
Beta? Okay, body horror. Okay, this is going to get bizarre.
Oh, this is going to get great.
Speaking of body horror, I have some things to tell you patrons when we go in there about the Cyclina story. I can't mention them, or I will not mention them here. We're starting a book of VLUB. That would be really funny. Just basically everybody logs into chat and puts up their video and nobody looks at the camera. They'll just read. once and for
Oddly
all.
enough, for folks who work from home, I've been part of a couple of narrator groups where that kind of quiet co-working is a thing, and it's just an accountability thing, so that there is somebody else in the room, so that you don't feel like you're alone, and you don't feel like you're less likely to be distracted, and you're actually going to focus on what you're doing. So
Interesting. I know Ed Lorne was actually streaming his writing for a while because it kept him in the chair.
yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. What do we do for the next 10 minutes? That's a very interesting question. Somebody put up here earlier, where was it now? Oh, it was James. I think it was James. Man, I'm having to go so far up into chat now. Where was it? Ah, there we go. I've been struggling writing a book where the character has unwittingly gained the powers of knowing things and he hates it, hence him becoming a drunk recluse. So is this like, what was that show, Strange Luck? Does anybody remember that show from the 90s? It ran after the X-Files for a few, I think half a season or so. Nobody remembers this show. I'm the only one that watched this show. No wonder it got canceled. That character was basically, wherever he was, strange shit happened. If he buys a lottery ticket, he won't win. If the guy behind him buys the lottery ticket, he will win. Like, all he can do is he walks in, every scratch off gives him $5. That's it. That's all he can get. If he picks up a quarter in the wrong area, strange shit happens. So the way he lives is very interesting because he tries to stay the fuck away from people as much as possible and away from those situations. And he always gets dragged in because he's got bad luck. So that would be something to maybe look at that. I kind of have that problem with Tony Downs a little bit, is figuring out how to put stumbling blocks. And one of those stumbling blocks is altered mindset. So get drunk, get stoned. Maybe you're not as sensitive to other people's thoughts and you can turn it off. And that, of course, leads to some really bad habits, like becoming a raging alcoholic or whatever else, because you're basically doing it to cope, because there's no other way to shut the voices out. And that's a problem. That's a problem you got to deal with the character is if you can't shut it off, and I imagine it'd be like anything else, even though you go to sleep, you're still hearing shit, you know? So even if you're asleep, you're still going to be hearing people's voices maybe. You enter into your dreams and all sorts of other shit, and maybe you start sharing their dreams. Who the fuck knows? There's all sorts of weirdness that you can put in there anytime you got telepathy or something like that. Now, if you were knowing the future about things, that would be more terrifying. But then the question is, are you affecting the future by knowing it? And the answer is yes. It's one of those quantum Schrodinger's cat things.
Schrodinger's quantum cat.
Schrodinger's quantum cat. Yeah, there was an X-Files episode that was similar. I think that was the Rube Goldberg one, wasn't it? That's a great episode if you've never seen that. There was like 10 or 20 X-Files episodes that are just so fucking good. And then you have to get around the filler. But there were some that were just so good. Loved that show when it was on. Plex has it? Yeah, probably. Strange Luck only lasted 17 episodes and it's not streaming anywhere currently. Okay. Yeah, it'd be terrible if you knew the future and you couldn't change it. Welcome to Cassandra. That was what I called myself for a long time when I was a Schlumberger, because I always saw it coming and it just, no matter how much I screamed, it just let it happen every single fucking time.
What is that from Doctor Who? Fixed Point in Time? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's something like that. Ice cream soup. My mom did that. She put the ice cream in. My dad just threw it in the freezer. It worked fine.
I have done that on a couple occasions, usually because of stress or exhaustion or just sheer distractedness. And what I can say is if it's not totally frozen, if it's just mush, definitely put it back in the freezer. Or if you want to get creative, you can, that's the perfect consistency to make an ice cream cake. But that involves
ice cream
making cake. Yes. So.
James Black and Giovanni Ribisi were amazing in X-Files TPO. Yeah, that's a great episode. That is a great episode. I like that one a lot.
I think that was one of the first series that I watched religiously as a young adult, because it was on when I was in college, and my husband was way into it. And I was like, oh, what is this? And so we would sit and watch like X-Files every week when it came out. And we also wound up watching Voyager. What else? I think those were like the old.
Not TNG. TNG watched it.
TNG was when I was in high school, I think even middle school. And fun fact, the only reason that I got one of my sisters to watch TNG was because Will Wheaton was on it and she thought he was cute. But you know what? We all need our entries into, fandoms. And if that does it, so be it.
The Goldberg variation is one of my favorite episodes. It's just so fucking funny. Hang on a second.
Oh.
All right.
See, I see Goldberg and then my brain goes Mighty Ducks, and that's just not the variation that you want.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Probably not. Cherry has become a cat sofa once again.
Mm-hmm.
She likes this place.
Clearly. I have claimed this woman this nap time.
He is claimed to Terry. There's a big shock.
There is many humans, but this one is mine. And I will smack anyone that tries to take him.
I declare to make a fantabulous futon.
Fantabulous
Futon.
Fantabulous futon. Oh my god. Okay, chat. Do you have any questions for us? I have questions for chat and in the After Dark.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
There was something I was going to ask about writing, but I completely forgot about it. I forgot what it was.
So wait, if you have a question about writing and we don't ask it, is that on brand or did we get off track?
We got off track, I think, at some point.
We did, but I'm saying that if you have a question about writing, if we get distracted from it, is that on brand or is it off track?
Squirrels.
Or is it
It's on
both?
brand. We're on brand, more or less. And Patreon's going to be chaos, I can already tell.
Yes.
I was going to say I watched It Part 1 and It Part 2, and Brett had said that book is much better with the kids. And I think I agree with him, but there are some parts that you just kind of had to have as the adults. But now I have to go back and read the book because I haven't read the book in like 35 years, so I probably should go back and read it now. Should probably go back and read it. Movies were similar. Yeah. Maybe. Perhaps. I don't know. I love the cinematography, and I love the portrayal of Pennywise in the new It movies. They do a really, really good job of making that character just absolutely terrifying. They do a really good job of that. Time for a scrambled egg sandwich. Yeah, I used to be able to talk, and then I started narrating again, and now I can't talk anymore. That's how that works.
Yeah, it's a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah, I got mush mouth. So we may or may not have a show next week because these two knuckleheads will not be available. So I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do for next week. But I'll post in the Facebook group and all that kind of garbage if we have a show. So that's what we're going to do for that. If you have a question or comment about this show, you can head over to deadrobotsociety.com, punch that contact button, and send us an email. Or you can leave a comment on the show. You can actually do that. You can actually do that.
When you punch that button, think about Nazis.
You can find us on Facebook in the Dead Robot Society writing community, where we mangle all the madness. You can find us at YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast, where we are live every Saturday, 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live, when my co-hosts aren't out of town. What a bunch of slackers. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows, like the one we're doing in just about 10 minutes. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Nate Cosby, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons and Buy Me a Coffee supporters for making the show possible. And with that, all I can say is y'all need to go make some art. Go make some art. Go do that. You'll feel better. You'll feel better. All right, we are out of here. Hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, we will definitely see you in 2. But have a great week, and thanks for hanging out with us. Bye.